All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network was reporting on some coaching rumors earlier this morning, right? Linking Ben Johnson to the Chicago Bears. It does seem like where there's smoke, there's fire in that specific, situation. But one name that he threw out as a potential name to watch is ex-Raider head coach, ex-Buccaneer head coach, Jon Gruden. Right now, Jon Gruden is an interesting option because I feel like there is a pretty big portion of Jets fans that have been pushing for Gruden, right? Tyson from Let's Talk Jets Radio being one of them, right? Gruden is experienced. He's dealt with, locker rooms before. He's dealt with multiple owners. He's won a Super Bowl championship, has an offensive background, and we know Gruden to be like that hard style of coach. He's not going to be pushed around by media. He's not going to be pushed around by his players. He's not going to be pushed around by ownership. Now you can argue, okay, maybe he has a bit of an ego with that bigger personality to handle this style of job, because let's be honest, the Jets right now are not in a good place. They are losing games. They have a losing culture. It's a me first mentality there. We have players pointing the fingers at different teammates. It seems like not many people within the organization look at themselves in the mirror. It's always somebody else's fault. There's always an excuse, and it could be really any excuse that you want. Oh, we played a good team. Oh, a player slipped. Oh, a player ran the wrong route. It's raining out. We've heard it all, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the excuses. So with that understanding, right, assuming Pelissero is true here, and we got to keep an eye on Jon Gruden. Obviously, we know that the Bears need a head coach, the Jets need a head coach, and the Saints need a head coach. But, out of those three, I don't think the Bears make any sense at all for Jon Gruden. I think if they want to go with an offensive mind, and obviously in that same report, Pelissero linked Ben Johnson to the Chicago Bears, but I also think Cliff Kingsbury makes a lot of sense for the Bears. But I think New Orleans and the Jets make more sense for Gruden than Chicago, right? I think with the Saints, it's considered more of a smaller market when you look across the landscape of football. John is someone who, yes, of course, you have the Derek Carr connection, but this is someone who is going to be coming into it's an older team, right? It's a team that is pressed up against the cap. It's not like they have, 2 first-round picks. It's not like they have a plethora of young core pieces on cheap rookie deals. Yeah, they have a couple, right? I love specific rooms that they have, right? But overall, you kind of feel like the Saints play it safe, right? They're keeping Mickey Loomis. After Sean Payton left, they just promoted Dennis Allen. I think Jon Gruden, who spent time with the Saints, in the offseason, I think it could actually make a lot of sense. John is also in a position right now where he could accept a job and literally get a fourth crack at becoming an NFL head coach. How many coaches do you know out there that have received 4 head coaching opportunities? So, in other words, Jon Gruden, I think, is going to want the right situation. And if Gruden doesn't get hired this cycle, he's going to be talked about next cycle. He's going to be talked about the cycle after that. He's always going to be kind of looming around. And I do feel like eventually he will become a head coach, I would say relatively soon. In regards to the Jets, I think, again, he checks a lot of boxes, having that personality and attitude, having the offensive mind, having the head coaching experience. You look at the Jets culture, it is horrible, or I guess maybe lack of culture, I should say. And I do feel like Gruden would come in and instantly set a standard, instantly bring that old school, physical, aggressive mindset to a team that just desperately lacks it. So I do think it makes a lot of sense. I don't think Gruden is in my top 3 head coaching choices, but I don't see a situation where, the Jets hire Gruden and I slam my phone down and I say, we just set ourselves back 3-4 years. I don't really envision a scenario like that. But of course, it doesn't just end with the Jets and the Saints in Chicago. We have to talk about the other teams out there. Jacksonville, probably. Giants, maybe. Obviously, he's not going back to Las Vegas. And of course, there's always that team that fires their head coach every cycle that it's like, whoa, nobody saw this coming. Who could that be, right? This upcoming cycle. Could it be Shane Steichen with the Colts? There's a lot of negative things being talked about, right now with the Colts. Yet again, they crumbled. You can point to leadership being an issue with Shane Steichen. Do they move on? Does Mike McDaniel get fired if the Dolphins lose to the Jets this weekend and yet again they fall short of expectations? There's a lot of different situations that you can argue, right, with a coach being fired. But I think right now, the Saints and the Jets would probably be the two teams that make the most sense for Gruden if he comes back. Here's the good news, though, and I might do a whole separate video on this, but it doesn't feel like this coaching cycle does not feel like how it did with the Jets hiring Robert Saleh years ago, where there was like a handful of good candidates, and that was about it. Like this go round, it feels like there's more qualified candidates than head coaching vacancies, which is obviously fantastic for the New York Jets. Now, of course, there has to be interest from said head coaching candidates, but in the end, I do feel like the Jets will. And maybe this is just me being optimistic, but I do feel like we will get this thing figured out, whether it's a Vrabel, whether it's a Brian Flores, or take your pick on whoever it may be. I'm really hoping that we figure it out. And again, I think we will. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And as always, go Jets.